How's it going, everybody? It's Tim. You're here at Stock Picks by Tim, and in this video I'm going to go over Sphere 3D or ANY stock. So we've got quite an interesting day in the market. A lot of small caps are up pretty nice, and this is relatively flat. Now I'm going to get into Sphere 3D on the chart. We're going to get into some recent news here, and then we're also going to go over Bitcoin and just what's going on there. It is pulling back a little bit. Now if you appreciate my videos, make sure you hit the like and subscribe. I put out daily videos, and let's get into this. Alright, now first off, Bitcoin has been kind of chopping around. It's not respecting this channel any longer. So I'm going to pull this back a bit. And you'll see that we're trying to develop a support here at the 300 MA. And we did this last time before bouncing up again. So keep an eye on this. If it breaks, we're definitely likely to fall to some quite lower levels. Our first level of support would be about 44,400. And keep in mind, right now we're sitting at almost 46. But I think it's very likely that if we do pull back, we're going to pull back to about 44,400. Because you'll see we found support here, found support right around here, kind of traded a little sideways with a slight upward trend, and then also right here. So I'm hoping that this area holds as a nice support for Bitcoin. So keep an eye on this area. If we do pull back, make sure we hold this level. Otherwise, we're definitely falling a lot further. But as for Bitcoin, I would personally see this as a great time in the month to average in. I personally don't expect Bitcoin to pull back all that much, but if it doesn't hold this 300 MA, it's definitely likely. Alright, now let's get into Sphere 3D and a couple things there. And of course, I'll leave a link to this article if you want to read it yourself. And definitely make sure you check out the links below for some free crypto and stocks. If you sign up for the BlockFi crypto card, you can get a $40 reward. So check that out. I definitely highly recommend it, and it's the only credit card I really use lately. Now to me, there's a bit mixed. There's some positives, there's some negatives. So for the first negative, we've got revenue actually down compared to 2020. We've got revenue at 3.7 million compared to 4.8 million in 2020. So that is not good. Gross margin was basically the same. Operating expenses were quite a bit higher, and their net loss was quite a bit higher. But they are sitting at about 290 million in assets with no debt, very little debt. So if you're in on Sphere 3D, this is going to be the long haul. You could of course play it on a short-term trade, looking at the technicals and playing certain levels, but for the most part, this is going to be a long-term stock. You're going to have to wait for those miners to get in place, them to start building up that revenue, and I do expect 2022 to see a nice increase in revenue, and we even heard that from the CEO. And also, they did begin mining Bitcoin with the first 1,000 S19J Pro miners, and they're expecting 60,000, don't forget that. And this is with Gryphon Digital and Core Scientific. So I'm personally going to say I'm going to hold this for roughly a year. So I think you're going to have to be a bit long-term on this one before we start seeing that revenue increase very nicely. I think next quarter we might see a little increase in revenue, but they're still not profitable, okay? You have to think about that. They are not profitable. And yes, you might say, hey, well, they've got 270 million in assets and the market cap's only 139. This is true, and they have pretty much no debt. This is true, but you know, they're making negative EPS. They are not making profit. They are burning money. So you have to think, by the time they're profitable, where will their balance sheet be? Will they have a bunch of cash that they're still sitting on? Will they have to dilute shareholders a lot? Will they finally get to that positive EPS? I think possibly in 2023. So it is going to be a bit of a wait. And of course, we are still waiting for that merger. So you're definitely going to have to be patient with Sphere 3D. It's not just going to go up to $6 overnight. But to get to our previous highs, we are looking at about a 3 to 4x. So I do think this is going to pump a bit once we get some positive news with Gryphon Digital. So far, it's just been a constant wait. We've got people very, very irritated. And, you know, they can't really talk about this. They can only go into so much detail with a merger like that. So that's one thing you got to think about. Now, you'll notice that roughly the 24th of March was where we broke our 300 MA. And we seem to be holding it as support. We came up to a resistance at about 260, and this became our resistance here. So keep an eye on that 260. If we break out from that, we're going to definitely push higher to new levels. And I personally don't see this going under $2. Of course, I could be wrong, but I really don't see it. I would definitely see any Sphere 3D as a great average in if you believe in it long term. You know, if you're willing to wait 6 months, a year, 2 years out. But I think it is going to definitely be a waiting game with this one, but it will pay off if you're patient. But remember, they are still burning cash, so you might want to keep this to a relatively small position in your portfolio. I'm personally keeping this one to about 2%, but I do want some exposure to it, and I think it's worth holding some. So don't forget, this is definitely high risk, high reward, and make sure you tune into my next video. I'm going to be talking about CleanSpark and their mining update. We don't currently have a mining update yet, but I'm going to be keeping a close eye on it. Typically, it's the 3rd that they put out their mining update, and the 3rd was on a Sunday, so we'll probably get it sometime today. So keep an eye on that. Make sure you like and subscribe and stay tuned. But that's all I got for you today, guys. Make sure you leave a comment below. What is your favorite Bitcoin miner? And what do you think of Sphere 3D's financial results here? But thanks so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time.